o'clock. Let's call this meeting to order and we'll stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
6 to 20.
Amendments to the agenda.
I would like to have a short executive session for personnel.
Making that motion?
Yep.
Second?
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay. I'm gonna cross out the none. Not the none. Approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 25th, 2020, as written.
Your second?
I'll second the discussion.
Additions, directions, deletions, corrections.
I just have one that I just want to make a comment on because there was quite a bit of discussion about it at our
Page,
meeting
what
last night.
page?
What's that?
What page?
Oh, page 2, I guess it is. Yeah, page 2. Where, I gotta find it. When the discussion, we're talking about people having to get plumbers, and Joe said that the town was gonna pay for it, and he argued with us, said he didn't say it. It does say it in the meetings, I just wanted to be pointed out that it did say it in the minutes. That the town would pay for a plumber.
It is in there somewhere.
It's
Yep,
right-
it is. It said, are you talking about where it said,
If the meter is defective.
if it's found that the meter's defective, who pays for the plumber? And then underneath it, Manager Gunther said, in that case, the town will pay for the plumber.
Yes. If the meter is defective, the town will pay for the plumber.
The lady.
Is that what you wanted?
I'm not, I just wanted to point out that,
Yep.
that the lady or the person asked if the town would pay for the plumber, and Joel said yes, and he argued with us later on and said he didn't say that, so. I just wanted to make it a point that it was said, and, okay, nothing, I don't want to carry it on.
Correct.
That is correct.
That is correct.
So there's
Any
no-
other additions or deletions or corrections or comments?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. 5 minutes for public comment. John? Oh, John's not here.
A couple meetings ago, a couple months ago, I asked about the status of agendas on the website. I was told, well, we're gonna start putting them on now. The last minutes are June 30th. Are you not doing it all for 2021?
No, all the minutes are current and have been since that day. I've put them up there myself. I checked today. In fact, somebody asked me where they were. I sent them a link and
How
I
do you
sent
get
them a screenshot.
They haven't, they're in a little bit different place, Rod, where.
There's two places, I see them, but I didn't see anything past June 6th, or June 30th.
I can't find them either.
They're because we're into a new fiscal year. If you look under 2021,
I looked, there's two places, and I looked. I couldn't find anything beyond 6:30.
they're all there.
Check it out and make sure we're not looking at the, we're looking at there's not in a different place that they should be.
Sure. I'll take a look.
If
You
they're
can
there,
find
good.
them?
I can find them, but I go agenda, minutes, and then there's some other stuff, and then even below the other stuff, there's one that says minutes 2021, 2020 to 2021.
Right, but in that place too, it's at June 6th, or June 30th is the last one available.
Because I thought I had,
I see them in two different places. Don't get me
okay.
wrong, I see them in two different, but I can't find anything after June 30th.
I can't either. And I know it's probably me. See?
Your minutes.
They're not there?
Minutes. 2021 minutes. 714, 728, 811, 825.
They're on his computer.
If they're only on this computer,
No,
it's,
no, they're a little more difficult to
I
find.
noticed what he
Where did
did.
you get them on the right here?
so we did have, because, it's a right-hand bar and you have minutes,
Yep,
2021 minutes.
I saw that spot,
Prior.
and the last thing I saw was June, the latest thing was June 30th.
We've been very diligent with this, because people do look at it.
On that,
Corrected, but,
I've had several people ask me.
on that same line, there are some people that have been saying that if we could do it in a PDF as well as a Word, because if you don't have Microsoft Word, you can't open the minutes
Oh, okay.
now.
yeah,
And so if we could do it in a PDF as well, I think that would,
yeah, if you're gonna consolidate on one format, PDF is
Yeah,
pretty
that'd
much
be the way to
available to
go.
everybody.
right, because we had some, I did hear a couple people say they couldn't open it because it was a Word file now. But
I like to have the agenda ahead of time so I can plan on how thick a notepad I need.
thanks, Ray.
Okay, anybody else? Anything else, Raj?
No,
All right, we will move on then. Department head reports. We have department heads galore tonight. Aaron, you want to start?
So pavement is all down. Working on getting shoulders put back where they belong on some of the streets where we didn't do curb to curb. We're gonna back that up with topsoil where topsoil is needed, where gravel can be for driveway purposes and such. The boys did start up on Scotch Hill this afternoon on the MRGP grants and aid stuff, so we can get that taken care of. That has a hard end date for us, so that was next on the agenda to try and get that all taken care of, so we can make sure we get that money recouped from all that work that we were doing up there. With the pavement done, we're looking to get back to when we have time in between going up Scotch Hill and stuff to get more of the crosswalk stuff painted. There's quite a few that got erased with the new blacktop, so it'll have to be relayed out and made pretty hopefully. Highway wise, with all the pavement, I think everybody in town is pretty happy that we do have all this nice new
I was gonna
blacktop.
say that. I've gotten a lot of positive comment on that.
We're waiting to, some of the roads we have paved, we're waiting to see how the water stuff goes, but everything we've seen so far that's been repaved, a lot of the water spots all the water spots are pretty much gone. Of course, there's a few here and there that are not even close to what they used to be, so we did have an excellent job on that end of it.
Pay close attention to Second Street.
What's that?
Pay close attention to Second Street.
That one, I don't think we've gotten a drastic amount of rain
Right.
since it's been paved. Carnarvon, I know, took a pretty good amount of rain the other day, and it was phenomenal compared to years of past. So, but Second Street is definitely our watching point right at the moment. Of course, all we seem to get is inches of rain in hours instead of, hours of rain that equate to an inch or so. The highway, that's about where we're at right at the moment. The water department, I know, I'm not sure if I hadn't heard yet at the end of the day yet today if the water meter, we had the written reports on if those meters were completed on their testing or not. The boys are out driving around once a week, taking readings to see where we're at, for information for us to dissect and use. Sewer plant, or sewer wise, Thursday, hopefully Thursday Joe, Pete, myself, and some of the operators are down there. We'll finally be able to get together. I've been taken away with all the paving stuff, so we can finally sit down and talk about Adams Street and Academy Street pump stations and the control issues they're having down there and what we're going to do to hopefully remedy that before even winter time, so they're not fighting all winter long, keeping those pump stations running. So, other than that,
Adams Street, and what's the other one? Adams
Academy
and River?
Academy Street.
Academy.
Aaron, just a question on Grape Street. I know you're going back doing the curb, so it sounds like the answer to that, there seems to be one of the stormwater drains is sitting up pretty high.
So if you go down, yeah, grade.
Second house on the right there, it looked like it was sitting up there.
Yep, so that, it's at grade, but the back side of it's all cut out, so any water in the lawn will infiltrate that way. The reason why we raised that one up is because it is in the line of the road, so we can try and get it so people aren't having to drive around it. So if we didn't raise it up at all, it would have been even, lower in the road itself.
So we're gonna go back and,
So what we would do is probably slope the grass around it on the backside. Like I said, the backside of it is cut so the water can come in the lawn. So we didn't want to raise it up higher than the lawn area and get that complaint of water being put in their yard.
okay, there was one that looked like it was pretty high, is all.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it'll be the first one on the right here if you get off.
As soon as you get down Great Street, about right in front of the second house.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. So the top of the grate is just below asphalt, and then the back side of it where it goes in the lawn has been all opened up, so it'll still take water that way. So we'll do some some dressing around that, but the whole thing will still be at height.
okay. Because my only concern, it looked like someone could take a bicycle, run into that and flip right over the handlebars, or putting a cone or something if we're gonna do something. Is all.
Yeah, we can get a cone up there before we get everything up there where we want. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a manhole at the foot of the hill by the bridge, by the railroad track,
Yeah.
they replaced. That's really gotta be tapered or something, because we're gonna start hitting it with the plows this winter, because
Yep.
the manhole itself is up higher than the asphalt.
Yeah, Nate and I have talked numerous times on that. Needs to be done before we get to winter time.
And then the manhole up the other end of South Main is getting louder, so it must be getting
Is it?
closer. When the trucks hit it now,
Is that ours or is that ours?
it's our sewer, it's our sewer drain.
You want a North Main? Oh, South Main.
South
Sorry,
Main.
right by in front of Bob.
Has it been recent, because the boys went down, the guys went down, you know what day it was, and put some, of our sticky stuff to it to hold that cap down.
I don't think it worked.
I'll have to take a ride by it and see if I can get it.
And the other question I got, we spent 3 months raising manholes. How come they're all 1.5 inches to 2 inches lower than the asphalt? I mean, that's not your, because these guys did it before that, but you go up West Street or you go up Washington Street and they're down that far. Some of them are flat. You go down some of the side streets, they're even lower than that. I mean, we spent 3 months raising manholes. And there's nothing that's up level with the pavement. Whether we need collars on them or whatever, but it's an actual hole. Either that or you're gonna have to fill in with coal patch until you, because it's just gonna start moving everything if you don't do something. But, that was my stuff at Roundtable. It's over with now, so.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's on the,
But I agree, Aaron, that the town never looked better for streets. And, yeah, it's nice. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you.
that it for him?
What, last meeting, there was a lively discussion about brush cutting, whether it was done or not.
About the stop sign or about roadside mowing?
Well, you mentioned the brush cutting's done, and there was a lively discussion to counteract that.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna say probably the brush cutting, the discussion is more of the back roads. River Street, I think I know is one of them. Bulger Green, stuff like that. That's stuff that is on the list to be done, but right now, like I said, we have that hard date for grants and aid money that we need to get done first, so I can't pull guys away from up there without losing money. So,
In terms of the last time we talked about, there was some brush in front of the stop sign. They did go back there and brush cut, but we missed the spot that was pretty much covered with brush. Jay took me up and he showed me what he was talking about, and the guys did go back and cut that.
Okay, but there was also South Main Street discussion.
That was mowed.
Oh, okay.
Again, that was actually mowed twice.
They gotta cut the stuff on the side hill down here. Because you can't see down around.
On the right-hand side?
If you come down the hill, you'll be on the left-hand side over, not on the
On the
old.
post office side?
Yeah, right.
that was all cut today.
That's cut there now in the diamond down there by the Vermont Structural?
Oh, no, sorry, I thought you meant, Marble Street, to Main Street Hill. All Massey's, all that.
They did, Nasty's did that today.
Yep.
It was a lot of work.
But the other one, that really needs to be taken care of.
Let's put it on the list.
Second chance. Chief?
With the nice pavement, we've seen an increase in speed, obviously. We put out a pretty heavy presence. We wrote a lot of tickets. In July we wrote 82, but I think we wrote that out, double that in August. Speeding, we've been out pretty heavy on speeding still. Trying to focus on the hot spot. South Main is still,
You've done a good job in South
it's
Main.
relentless down there. You can't even be there for 5 minutes.
You've got it slowed down. It's not as bad as it was.
Yeah.
We still get the same people, that does it, but you've done a good job. I gotta give you credit. You guys have got it slowed down.
And I've tried to jockey some shifts to have them coming out early. So we've been trying to hit that early morning where there's usually, they don't expect anybody to be here. So
Right.
we're trying to jockey shifts a little, try to throw a different wrench in the system. And that's really been effective. Start on August 30th, obviously we had that motorcycle crash. I wanted to address that. Sean Galvin wrote a really nice letter, if you guys got to see that. I think the officers truly, with their first aid, saved that man's leg. They ended up saving his leg. It came in as a mostly amputated. So with that case, I was in New Hampshire, in and out of service. My sergeant called me. He said he was sitting at Sheldon Road, around radar. He pinged the motorcycle at 114 miles an hour. He said, I activated the lights, I pulled out, shut the lights off, the guy accelerated and went into that first corner. And Dale said, I came around the corner and he was wrecked. The guy, first thing he says, if you didn't chase me, I wouldn't have crashed. Instead of saying, well, if you weren't speeding. Dale was pretty rattled. We made a decision to have the state police investigate the crash. With the day and age, and you have, based on his statement in the day and age, oh, it's the police fault. Well, I was going to do an internal investigation until I watched the video. The video was exactly what Dale said. Dale, you see Dale's brakes come on the camera. You see the motorcycle go by and accelerate. You see his lights come on. You see him pull out and the lights go off. And he never broke 65 miles an hour between where he was sitting in that first corner and then came over and then immediately started life-saving first aid. So again, I had the state investigate that. They seem to concur with what I have, but I haven't gotten their final ruling back on that. Again, even if Dale decided to pursue, it's not against their policy, but Dale, using better judgment, was just like, it's not worth chasing him, and he had no idea he was going to crash on the next corner. So I'm pretty proud of the guys. And they had gone through tourniquet training, which was beneficial, and they applied it. And again, medical saved the guy's life. On September 1st, we went over to Washington County, New York, and did extradition of our suspect from a home invasion on the 2nd Street. He currently is sitting in Marble Valley, actually went to Springfield. We brought him here, processed him, transported him to Rutland, and Rutland took him from there and took him to Springfield, and he's held without bail pending a weight evidence hearing on that case. So I'm going to keep you updated on that. On September 2nd, I issued another violation to Adams Street for the junk ordinance, and I'm looking at issuing another one this week. I went by today and I don't see any changes, so I'm just going to keep writing. And at some point,
I've heard the dogs are quieter. Is that possible?
yeah, they actually, I went by there and they've actually built a shelter in the back. It looks to be a fenced in, like for standard. It's kind of nice, I guess, for there. And they've tarped it, so it looks, the dogs are not. I don't think they're getting the visual when people go by because they're not seeing them as much, where they get a lot of barking. But there is a shelter that they're keeping them in, so I think that issue's been addressed. We did actually write tickets down there for unregistered. We're going to follow up on that again, and have the animal control officer follow up, and if they're not, we'll issue again for unregistered tickets. The woman down here, we issued the ticket for the dog bite that Lulac, I think, came to the board and was talking about. She defaulted on the ticket. She called us today and was trying to figure out how she could make good on a ticket. she failed to answer. So we were working with her. She's gonna come in by Friday and try to resolve that ticket, and pay the fine. That dog is gone from the village. It's not here anymore. Today, school went off really well, but slow. The traffic backed up. Pine Street was terrible. I know that the SRO is going to speak to the school about maybe trying to open up Mechanic Street a little more for check-ins because
Are they doing temperature checks
they
outside?
are. But all the parents are coming in on Pine Street, and we had backed out on the 4th. And Mechanic Street had walkers and buses, so I don't know if it's working. So I know that Corporal Hunter was going to talk about trying to get them to maybe open a second station on the other side because the older kids drive, and they'll be there today, or excuse me, tomorrow, and maybe see to try to address that. But he was going to get back to me tomorrow on what they were doing. Grade school was backed up all the way out to Liberty Street today. It was long. I spent the afternoon out there. The grade school, the front went well today. I have brought an extra guy in just to be out there in case we just need to stop traffic for buses, but really kind of flowed. They stopped out front, the kids got off, so it really didn't cause a jam. So it's busters and walkers to the front and all the parents out back. And they're temperature checking everybody. They have stations at front and out back, and that seemed to flow okay. It's just tedious. It took probably an hour for them to get everybody out today. There was a couple parents upset. I'm predicting as the week goes, the parents will get less.
Anxious.
No, I'm predicting it to go the other way. I think they're going to start like, okay, it's the first couple days, and as this goes, it's going to become more of a burden. Like, this is difficult, and I need to get places but I'm hoping that this community is really good. I'm hoping that they hold it together and kind of figure out whatever process.
One question. This is just something I was told, or whatever. Do the teachers have to stand in the line on Pine Street?
I don't have any info on that.
Because they don't have to be checked. They get checked when they go into the building, from what I understand. And I'm just wondering if the teachers went up Mechanic Street and parked, and then went into the school and got checked, if that wouldn't, maybe take the pressure off Pine Street a little bit.
I will check with the school officials tomorrow on
Well,
that.
they just, again, this is what I was told, they weren't coming. They're just saying that they thought if because the teachers are being checked at the door, it might take some of the pressure off Pine Street.
Yeah, I would hate to be a resident on Pine Street in the morning, you're not going anywhere. Like, I couldn't even go down Pine Street. I started and went, I turned around and went in the other way, and I sat there. I bounced between the two schools.
They got quite a few teachers up there, and that might take some of the cars away.
I know they were staggering the teachers coming in early and then the students. I mean, it literally took, I think, an hour and a half just to get everybody in today.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna be the norm for a little while. But I will talk to them tomorrow and see what changes, and I'll report back to you on
Okay.
that.
Just a suggestion.
DPW has been amazing. I put a slip in on the cars and they're Johnny on the spot. I guess I'll attribute to Aaron being back, and that's what it was when he was here before. I'm not waiting. If he's available and he's got Eddie doing the work now, and here's a slip, and they're calling me, hey, where's the part? Like, it's here. They come and get it, and stuff's done. So I just want to give them credit while he's here. I haven't had a chance to see him. It's been very, very nice. Today, I talked to Bob a little bit yesterday. I talked to the town manager. I testified in front of the House Ops Committee today over dispatching. The state police is trying to set up a fee structure. I'm fighting a good fight. It's like $53 per call. It's ridiculous. And when I know more right now, I think Brian Collmore put something in that they're trying to delay it for 3 years now. Wilmington echoed the same thing I did today. EMS, I spoke on behalf of EMS. I said, you're going to put EMS out of business. I mean, they're literally billing $200 for Medicaid, and $53 is going to the state right off the top just because of 911 call. I think the state ultimately, this is my own opinion, is trying to push all the municipals out to go to somewhere else. And one of the House reps called them out today and said, after the captain from the state police said, well, ideally, they would all be regional centers. And the House rep said, well, this is 100% the argument you used, opposite argument you used to consolidate back from, you guys all remember we were in Rutland at one point. Right. So there's a big battle back and forth. The House Ops Committee was on them pretty hard about the charging and the fees, and I know I testified on, because they asked me impacts, and I used your exact quote, what you told me yesterday. I said, this is how I'm going to start right out with Mr. Richards' quote on I'm for a local department, but at that kind of fee, I might have to rethink it. And so I said, that's the impact on small departments. And I, you know, they asked about the school budget and, you know, why the school budget went down, and, you know, could you see our budgets getting voted down? And I said, absolutely. I mean, if you look at adding, you know, a large amount of figure just for dispatching services, they said the budgets are gonna go down. It's not, you know, so we have a $6 million sewer bond, our water bills are high. I said, we're one of the poor communities in the state. We just can't sustain dollar amounts. And Wilmington echoed, Wilmington's a ski town, and they're arguing over their dollar amount.
Well, you said, you told me that it was around $112,000.
They're saying 100, so what they did was they looked at, you know, the monthly report I give you, and it says calls requiring further investigation, that number. So what they did at the end of 2018, they saw 2115. Without breaking it down, they went, based on that, it's $112,000. I said, well, this is kind of insane. So, and again, I testified to that today, would be like, so when everybody comes in for fingerprints, Bonnie, it starts a case. Like, John Doe came in, fingerprints, blah, 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 we charge him $18. In that was, so all those cases that we've entered on that, they were gonna charge us $53. So my argument to them was, you guys are not looking into this. Your dispatcher didn't touch it. We did those our own. I mean, I explained to the House Ops Committee, I said, I even have the animal control officer documenting loose dogs, violent dogs. So if we have to have a hearing in front of the select board, we have a nice documentation to present. These are all the incidents. I said, we do overweight permits, trucking companies, and we enter them, so we have better. I said, the state has pushed us to better reporting. Now we're doing it, and then we're being penalized. And I pointed out Brandon Police Department uses Valcor reporting system, which we use Stillman, which is the state police, and they're only at 45,000. And nobody could answer that. State police couldn't answer it, and they didn't answer it today when one of the reps from Middlebury called them out on it and said, well, what's this? And they just avoided it. Valcor, the state doesn't start cases under Valcor. Only the 911 calls they get, and they'll start a little case number and close it, and then the officers start their own case. So what I've done months ago, and now the state has agreed with me, is don't start me a case unless it's a 911 call or somebody calls, you know. We'll start our own. And so that's what we've tried to eliminate the burden on them. State police like that idea. So I don't know where this is going to end up. When you actually, I haven't subtracted at all. I think we're more in line with Brandon. When you take out all those, I mean, there's literally 100, 150 people alone that come in.
What do we pay for dispatching? Now, I couldn't break that out.
Right now, we don't pay.
Right.
Whatever our taxes are.
Right. The state is paying, we're paying those people already in our regular tax bill. Correct?
Correct, and that's what was the argument I had today, was like, we already pay taxes for that dispatch center,
Right.
and then somewhere down the line, these towns decided to start their own police department to handle our own problems. And that was echoed by Wilmington and even some of the House reps. I said, you're only penalizing the towns that have police, fire, and rescue.
Right.
He said, so, and they had other towns, and one rep actually said, okay, so if you take a town that doesn't have a police department, are you charging the town $53 for that 911 call? And the captain said, well, no, then we'd be charging ourselves. And he said, well, that's not what I'm saying.
No.
Charge everybody equally around the state. If Paulette gets a 911 call, bill the town the $53 as you would a town that has a police department.
Well,
And they asked me flat out, what would be the impacts? I said, I could see us cutting staff, losing the department, you know, and they asked who would take that. It would go back to the state. And I don't think the state's prepared to do that. So this is a battle that for the last couple of months I've been arguing. Bill Canfield got me to testify yesterday. I've met with the commissioner and met with the captain. I explained the discrepancy. He's like, I was our fingerprinting and ACO and directed patrols. Here's another kicker. So we go to do crosswalk. We start a directed patrol case and we write crosswalk duties, blah, blah, blah. I said, you're charging me $106 a day if we're there twice. So those are the disparities that, obviously those numbers, once we push back, those numbers would come out of there. So I know 112 to me is the same thing. I got sticker shock here when I said, you guys are like, ooh, and I agree with you. And I said, you're going to force everybody that's small out of business. I don't know if they're trying to push us out or force regionalization. I don't know. But I'm leading the charge for you guys, and I will keep you abreast.
I mean, that's a quarter of our budget.
Well, that's what I said. It's actually 1/3. I said 1/3 of dispatching, if you look at it. I said it's
It's ridiculous, I mean, we can't cover that.
I don't think that it's going to be there. Like one rep said, called the state police house and said, well, so you've met with chiefs already about some discrepancies? Well, yes. But you still sent them the same 112,000. Well, due to COVID, we hadn't time to come down and really get into it, so, but there was talk of pushing us out 3 years to 5 years, depending on, and talking to Canfield, it sounded like the House Ops Committee wanted to remove that whole section out of that bill. So I'm hoping it goes that way. Again, my biggest argument is we pay the same taxes as everybody. Myself and Wilmington really hit them on the tit for tat. Like, so if I get called to go to Benson to back an trooper up, and you start a case, you're billing me $53 to help you. I said, do we charge you $67.50 on a minimum of 4 hours every time we go out of town to help you? And that's what Wilmington said. We don't want to get tit for tat, but if there's an accident on the state road, tag, we're going to charge you when we handle it on your road. So that seems to be the mantra on the chiefs. And I'll keep you updated as I know more as it goes, it progresses. It does not look like it would be in this budget cycle. But what they were originally talking about was like, you know, cut it in force and then each year would increase. But again, I don't see, we don't generate that much work. I think that's all I have. I don't know if you guys have anything for me, any questions?
Questions for the chief?
I'm just waiting to see more of what he comes back with on this situation here, because it's just, to me, it's crazy that we pay for state police protection to begin with. And
We pay for the dispatch.
yeah, we
We
pay
already
for
paid for
it, we pay for it, we're paying for it, and, you know,
I think what they're saying is, we're not paying enough.
I think, well, I think what they're doing is cost shifting. They're just taking,
Oh,
I mean, it's the old thing they used to blame schools for doing, it mandating all kinds of state mandates with no funding behind it.
I did try to explain to the commissioner, if you're that short of money, if you add the extra funds in public safety on the state level, nobody's gonna notice it. So, but if you had 100,000 to our town,
Oh, yeah.
or any, not just say ours, but any town across, they're gonna, people are gonna be, wow. You know,
Every 20,000 is a penny on the tax.
it's a lot, I understand, and that's why, like I said, I've been pretty vocal. I'm sure I'm not real liked by the state. I don't work for them, so I don't care. I work for you guys, and I'm gonna keep fighting as much as possible to solve the problem.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll start with Furnace Street. We met with Wayne Elliott, the engineer. We walked down Furnace Street to take a look at what some of the, kind of get an idea of what the water concerns are out on that road. The 10,000 foot version on this is that, yes, we should be collecting some of that water off the road because there is no drainage out there. But, which makes me extremely unpopular, the water coming off the road is not going into the cellars, or we don't, the engineer says he doesn't believe it's going into the cellars. He looked at the homes and the lay of the landscape, and he offered some suggestions to homeowners about how they could keep the water out of their cellars. But at the end of the day, any stormwater improvements down there, it's not going to be the golden bullet that everybody thinks it is.
could you get him to write something up?
Yes.
So that everybody on that street can get it?
I will.
I still said, like I talked to the other day, go in and blow maggot, take it down to gravel, lower the road down, and it'll eliminate the problem. And then we don't have to worry about the water. We may have to put some drainage in, but it'll take care of any complaints they're seeing where it's running off the road. Just like we were supposed to have done on 2nd Street before, but now it worked out well. But I still say, take the crown out of that road. There's too much of a crown in Furnace Brook to begin, or Furnace Street to begin with. And
Wayne
go in there
said
and
that.
blow maggot. Go in there and take it right down to dirt and start over.
Yeah, and that's the engineer.
Or, you know?
Yeah, the engineer had said that as well. That is a pretty high crown, and he said it doesn't need to be that high. So we'll work with DPW to see what we can do with that road maybe next year. It's putting in stormwater collection and connecting it to the rest of the system would be extraordinarily expensive just because of the lay of the land. But there are options. Other things that make me unpopular, water meters. The water meters, I'm waiting on the written report, but the meters, all 5 meters came back, they're working properly. I did receive a request for abatement that's coming up later in the meeting. I met with Bev today and we hammered out some hard dates for the upcoming billing. We have the next year laid out. In the past, because the way the meters were read, you had to walk up to the house, touch the pad to the house, and then continue on. It made reading more difficult and not as predictable. With our new technology, we're able to better predict how long it will take, so it should be easier to get those 12 weeks, solid 12 weeks per quarter, as opposed to maybe a week on this end or a week on the other end, because they couldn't read.
Or a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we missed the opportunity there was to tell everybody that's the big deal.
That was a huge self-inflicted wound.
Yeah.
We did that to ourselves. Yep. 100%. That was us. That's all I had. Yeah, that's all I had for the meters, I think. First public meeting for the local option tax is the end of this month. It's a special meeting on the 29th, 7 o'clock.
What?
The 1% local option tax.
Okay.
That has been posted and it will hit the paper. Paving, DPW told you paving's complete. They're out there just picking away at the little things that need to be finished up. Police department talked about what they're up to. We didn't talk about, so there's that big tree on Main or South Main that's dead. The tree guy he was supposed to come last week, but he's swamped, so he's not forgot about us.
You're talking about the one in the middle of the hill? That one? The big yellow?
Right by those power lines. I think it's a big ash.
The one that's right there by, just down from River Street? Right, okay.
Scotch Hill we talked about. We didn't talk about Murphy and his fundraiser. Murphy brought in $6,200 over the weekend to help with the playground fund. We're up to just about $30,000 now. I would like to this is a great opportunity. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our volunteers. We've had, not Linda Barker, who is the owner of Murphy himself, Linda Barker's husband, her friends, the itty bitty committee that has started to do little projects in town, like the decorating of the flags for the holidays. There's a scarecrow event coming up where you can decorate a scarecrow and hand it out, so that way they can stick it in the park. Our volunteers have really kind of stepped up lately. It's been really, really nice to see. I thank them all. It's not small town America unless you have folks just like that, just taking part in community.
What's the goal for the playground once again?
So the goal for raising money is $80,000.
80, okay.
The total project is $160,000. The grant for the grant match to get the grant that's opening in October is where we would get the other $80,000 if we can raise the required funds. And everybody will be happy to know budget season is starting. Department heads have their sheets and they have their paperwork. We meet tomorrow to talk about what is expected. And the board will see get their first review October 6th, I think it is. The first meeting in October.
You told everybody to cut 2%, right?
Oh, we made it even better, 2.5.
10.
Cut 10%. And that's what we have for the manager.
Questions? There'll probably be some along the way. Let's go to old business. Water bill discussion, which is kind of started.
Yep. So account number 435, Mr. Robert Workman, he came in this afternoon and asked for an abatement. Last summer his consumption was at 10, which is 10,000 gallons. This summer it's at 29,000 gallons. He wrote a letter requesting. He is very cognizant. He has a large family, and he just installed a very large garden, so he knows he used the water. He said, "I know I used the water, Joe." What he's asking for is an abatement of sewer fees. Again, I don't have like I had mentioned in the past, I don't have the ability to abate funds just because I think my bill is too high, but the Board of Selectmen do have the ability. A recommendation would be, since his bill is 19,000 gallons higher than it was last year, multiply 19,000 by 1342, which is our sewer fee, which comes to $254.98.
I guess the question is, what is he basing him? Does he have any kind of gallons and rate? What he use in his garden? Because those are exactly my numbers. Those are exactly mine. I've been under 10 for years, and I went to 29 this year. I did water my garden, but you're talking
Not that much.
hour, like
Half an hour is like 400 gallons, no more than 400 gallons for.
I'm just worried that
You're gonna start a project.
I
here.
think that I was talking earlier with Glenn before, and I think it's reasonable to figure out a process for that. And it may very well be just, rather than having everybody come in with exact numbers, or which would be ideal, maybe there's some sort of a water in your garden.
Right,
I
if
don't
it's,
know.
Wait.
Maybe there's a base rate we take it out of everybody that's got a garden, but that's a tough road to hoe. I mean, everybody's gonna have a garden, or at least say they do.
last meeting, we had the lady that called in that had the high bill because of the garden. I just worry that, I believe that if we make a decision based on, okay, no question we use more water. Is it all garden or not? And I agree that if we have people that when someone, if we abate this, comes back and says, okay, I watered my garden too, I want you to take 19,000 off my bill. I don't know, I'd feel better if we had a process that said, okay, for watering gardens, if you did a half hour or whatever, the average summer watering comes out to this many for your summer bill, we'll abate 5,000, 6,000, whatever the number is. I think you've got to do some kind of study to find out what that number is.
Unless they bring in numbers, I don't think you should abate anything, because how do you know? I mean, like tomorrow, I'm gonna start washing my houses. I'm going downstairs, I'm going down and check the meters. It's not, I don't believe it's that big of a deal, but I'm just gonna see what it's gonna take to wash the house. But if they don't come in with dates when they've taken a meter and then the meter reading and then gone out and watered their garden, or washed their car, or watered their lawn, and at the same time, the same date when they were done, they have the numbers again. So you at least have something to go on. You can't just say, well, I watered my garden.
Yep.
And give them 400 gallons. If they use a straight hose, it's gonna be more than that. You use a sprinkler, it gets it back.
Bev and I talked a little bit about this, how we can kind of verify this, and it would be remarkably difficult. We do have the technology to send somebody into your home and actually read exact days and hours, but again, that's more manpower.
Right, that's not on us. I don't think that's...
And then it came where a young lady has a 1/4 acre, but another guy has only, a small plot. Like, do you let somebody water a whole acre and say it's my garden? It is definitely something we've thought about.
Well, and I'd feel more comfortable if we had a process that said, okay, I'm going to call and say for this summer, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. There's some planning up front. I just don't know how we chase this one. Unless we're willing to take the proposal you have, unless we're willing to take anyone who comes and says, okay, I watered my garden too, this is what you were last summer, this is where you are, we're gonna take the difference of those and credit, then it's not going to sewer?
You should only take a percentage though.
I-
You gotta err in the favor of the supply.
Yeah.
You can't give them 100%, because.
Well, no, you know, I know that the difference between the 19,000 on me is not just garden.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure where it was, and I'm gonna be paying more attention this next quarter, but, yeah, I mean, we can't just say 19,000 gallons went on it.
Just want to point out that there was a pricing, water pricing theory that was put out there a few years ago, and this conversation wouldn't be happening.
I know. And what was pointed out to me was that's what they do in Castleton just recently too, as a matter of fact. I don't know.
We can pass and, or the board can pass and we can get ready for next summer.
You know what I would like to do is I would like to get chapter and verse of what our water sewer ordinance says now and revisit this in 2 weeks with what should have happened. And I think what it's going to tell us is that you got to have meter readings before and after and each time you do it, and then we can give a sewer abatement. I think that's kind of what we've been, it's certainly the precedent we've been using for the last however many years.
Does the sewer department track the gallons that they process?
Oh, process, yes.
They do. Can the water department and the sewer department get together and say, okay, I made 10, X number of gallons and you processed Y number of gallons, and if those are, historically the same, then, or maybe they're 30% difference. So you only give a 30%, at most a 30% discount. I don't know. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Infiltration and leaking.
Well, yeah, but that's why I say
There should be
historically.
an average.
Yeah, historically, the percentage should be about the same. Where you come into problems is leaks out in the pipes and stuff like that. Sometimes there's a lot of them, and other times there's none.
Yeah, I think unless anybody wants to move on this tonight.
No, the
kick it down.
question is, we have someone who went to you, Robert Wortman went and asked for abatement.
Yes.
And he feels that the increase is solely due to his garden, watering a garden.
Twice
that-
as high, phoned your office, please, sewage. Yes, rather large garden and greenhouse that's been up and running for most of this billing period. He says a lot of water was used tending to plants.
Unless you got numbers. That's my feeling. I mean, it's just because you're gonna have a line of people in here wanting a rebate because they watered their garden.
Can you, is it possible to purchase personal water meters that you can put on a spigot?
Yeah, but if you read your meter in the cellar and then go down when you're done,
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, to give real numbers, you put it on the hose bit on the outside of the house that the hose is connected to. And you just, in that same period of time, I consumed X number of, gallons outside that, and, something we can verify. And, at least it gives the numbers without a lot of labor.
Well, I don't think it's on us, on the town.
That's why I say a personal water meter that can be purchased.
the only one that I really heard of, like, the gentleman's billing of $2,000. That's, to me, that's pretty steep, so that would be a meter I'd like to see checked. That's a lot of money, $2,000. I mean, I understand it's an apartment house, but still, they go from $2,200 to almost $5,000 for 1 quarter. I did say to him, you got 4 months. He said, I understand that, but he said, even if I figured a month, I'm still over $2,000 above what I really would have.
One meter for the whole building?
I believe so, yes.
You can't tell if someone's got kids playing
Well,
in the
that's,
tub every night.
anyways.
Has he come in? Is has he come in to ask for an
I
abatement?
don't know if he didn't come in to see. That'd be part of the discussion for later on.
He did drop off his bill, but he just said he wanted me to see it. I didn't, that's all I got was a bill on my desk. So, no, but we were gonna reach out.
Let's make sure you guys do, so at least they know we're thinking about it.
I think I agree with you. We should look at what our ordinance is, what's our process, and follow our process. And if we don't have a process that is working, then let's put a different process in place. But I'm getting the feeling that when we do these water abatements, sometimes it's like we're all over the place.
No, we're
on the
not.
decision.
We are absolutely not. They have always been, you
I-
present what was lost, and
I disagree with you, Bob, but that's,
and then,
I sat here and listened to some, that it looked like we were just making it up as we went, a year ago.
you're
So,
absolutely wrong.
so I think we need a process, and we need to put some rigor on the process
I don't
to make this go
I
away.
think it needs to be more disseminated.
I feel we've always been pretty fair with people who come in here with legitimate stuff, like a broken water line or stuff like that, and I feel that I think we've been very good to them. You know, maybe everybody thought they should have gotten more, but we've always tried to do every case. You know, we looked at everything that was going on, and I feel we've always done a pretty good job at it.
Well, we can just go through what we're supposed to do, and I think the big thing is to make it so everybody understands this is what you gotta do. And then-
I believe right now, our residents are totally confused with what the process is. And as we let this keep continuing to fester and go on, we're getting less and less trust and credibility in our water and sewer billing process.
But we're not letting it fester. We're not at all. We've been doing it, we've been testing meters, we've been reviewing individuals, we're now going out once a week.
Yeah, the once a week thing is huge. That way we can let folks know right away instead of waiting 3 months, because that's, a $2,000 bill is not easy to handle.
Yeah, but let's take what we've got individually against our ordinance and see where we're at.
All right.
And just tell the gentleman that we haven't said no yet, but we're leaning that way. I'm leaning, I should say, I'm only one. Sure. Bike trails, we got something with.
Yep. So I saw Mr. Calvi today, him and Mike, I'm sorry, I don't know his last name.
Morris.
Mike Morris.
They were gonna run up, Mike was gonna put a mower out on the trail just to see what it looked like to go around the pond. After that, they'll bike it, and then they'll come back and talk to the board, kind of give an update on what they think and where they think the trail should go.
I think this will be great. I mean,
I think so too.
people will love this.
It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, it is. So they will.
I thought the water department was mowing around that road, at least once a year. Or at least up to the dam on the back side.
They do put the mower up there. I honestly, Jeff, I don't know I don't know if it's the same spot that Mike's doing.
Okay. Because I've heard that there's there's a little bit of a beaver backup on the, let's see, it'd be the southwest side.
Yes, I heard that same thing.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll be on the next agenda then?
Yes, that and the water again.
All right, new business, sand bids,
Sand bid. This happened to us last year. We got one bid this year. Again, it was from Pike. Price per ton delivered is $14.05. It is a good product. I believe, Nate, you can speak to this, but I think DPW, they like the sand that Pike gives us.
Yes, we are very happy with it.
And Nate's on the line.
I take that. How you doing,
I'll
Nate?
make the motion that we buy the sand.
Good, so,
Is there a second?
We just gotta get the price for $14.05 to come delivered.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
That's
We got it.
that's delivered.
That's delivered, yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And that number is below current budget.
Okay. Equipment capital reserve deposit and toolbox purchase.
Yeah, so over the summer, the guys, when they may have been short-staffed, they continued to clean the yard. While they were picking up, they did take some more scrap to the scrap yard and managed to get $1,085 in scrap funds. They have the old water van still on site. What they want to do is use the water van and use that to kind of repair water lines and sewer lines as they come up. But they'd like to have a toolbox to go in there to put all of their water line and sewer line repair tools in. And Nate again can speak to this.
yes, that, we have talked about it before, and to have something more convenient, have everything more prepared when we go on a site itself, instead of running back and forth to the garage, try to have everything all at once.
Makes sense. Guess the bottom line is what's the toolbox cost us?
Nate, what's your toolbox cost?
It'd be just shy of the amount, I do believe. We have looked at a few of them, but we have not picked one out yet. But it will be around that number. That's, the number we were trying to reach for, and that's what a decent box costs.
I think you can do better than $1,000 for a toolbox.
We can do what?
I think you can do a lot better than $1,000 for a toolbox. You're not gonna put, you don't need a whole bunch of stuff. I just don't feel you need to spend $1,000 for a toolbox. The problem is here, this is one of the problems we have here. If somebody raises $2,000, that's what they wanna spend. And I don't think it's necessary to spend $1,000 for a toolbox. Not in a van that's enclosed. If it was in the back of a pickup, we might need something better.
I thought that had to come off the road, because it just wasn't, that's why we got the water department a new vehicle, because the van was
Yeah.
just not able to be on the road anymore.
Yeah, so the guys thought we were gonna pull it off the road, but then they thought if they could use that just occasionally and put the tools in it, it'd save them from having to, like you said, go back and forth, grab a tool.
I'm not saying the idea is a bad idea, but I thought the van was not able to go on the road.
This is what always happens here. All of a sudden, we need a new vehicle because everything's no good. But you'll turn around and sell that vehicle to somebody else and they'll run that vehicle for 3-4 years. But we have to get rid of it because it won't pass inspection. That happens here all the time. And it's nice they're using a van. I'm not saying it isn't.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea,
But you were right. We had to get rid of that. We had to get a new vehicle because this wasn't roadworthy.
Is it worthwhile to do a little more shopping and see what you need? I mean, I like the idea of having the tools specific to the need. I'm glad.
Well, the whole thing was to try to get the van more equipped and also have something a little bit more bigger for the tools inside the barn itself.
So are we buying tools and a toolbox or just tools?
No, we're not buying.
Okay.
The purpose of us cleaning up the yard, well, for one, to make it look better, and two, to try to get us money so we can purchase this without taking anything out of our line item, or out of our budget.
That part's admirable. Can't hate you for that at all. But
So we were trying to do something that didn't take away from us, but we gained at the end too.
well, I kind of side with Jay on this one. Personally, it seems like a lot for a toolbox, and I haven't bought an industrial sized toolbox or a job box or anything in a long time, so I don't know what they cost, but it seems like we could just do some shopping, see if we can, a little more shopping and see if.
Do we put $1,000 into a vehicle that's gonna be on the road?
Well, the toolbox
For
might fall
some
through the
amount of
floor. We don't want it to do that, yeah.
What's that?
It might fall through the floor.
Or you sell the van and you give the toolbox away, when the van does become unroadworthy.
I think that would be a false statement, that would not happen.
So the money would be for the garage and the van.
Oh, multiple toolboxes?
No, it'd be like to get the van set up a little bit, but then have the proper box inside the garage to hold all of our tools.
So you just go to that for water and sewer line specific tools. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, like the van itself, it's not, like the van itself is not gonna have like $1,000 snap-on box inside of it. That's not our goal.
You don't
The
need
goal is to help the van out, to make it try to be helpful for us, but have something inside the garage too, you know what I mean? I know I'm probably not really making any sense, but
No, you're all
like,
right.
spend the money on two different things to try to help us out.
well, you don't need a snap-on toolbox to begin with. You're buying the name, that's all you're
No,
buying.
I'm not saying we're gonna buy a snap-on toolbox, that was just the name I threw out there. I'm not spending $1,000 snap-on toolbox just for the van, and it's not gonna be a snap-on. I'm just using that as a reference.
Yeah, and then a year down the road, they'll want a new van. Wait and see what I tell you.
So,
Thank you, Nate.
Give us some more shopping numbers. We're not saying no, we're just saying it seems a little odd. I get you're gonna put a toolbox with water and sewer specific things in the shed or in the town barn, and then, or I don't know, is it gonna be in the town barn, is it gonna be up at the water plant or the sewer plant, or just give us some specifics and see if you can shop for something that's a little less expensive.
More economical.
More economical.
So, if I understand this, it's money that we want to spend that's not in the budget. That's why they're asking, because if it's in your budget, I'm
Yeah, this
just, and
money,
you need something, go get
It's
it.
still town money.
Yeah, but if they've got an approved budget, do we take and micromanage down to that fine of a level?
no, this
I'm trying to just understand.
this isn't budget money. This money still
new
needs, I'm sorry?
Is it new money?
It's new money. This money needs to be deposited into the Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, and that's select board money, and nobody can spend that except you.
Okay, that helps me understand why we're here.
Does it go directly into the fund? Into the capital reserve fund?
That's usually what we do.
I thought it was revenue, and at the end of the year, the board chose to put monies in the reserve accounts. That's part of the budget process.
Well, I think that any of that extra stuff, like selling, you know, that scrap metal and things like that. In the past, we've just had them, it's just gone to the reserve account.
So trade in for vehicles, if you get extra money, it go there. Selling a vehicle, it goes there. Just what they
I know
do.
we did that for the police. I wasn't sure we did that for every
Well,
little thing.
To be perfectly honest with you, the DBW hasn't done much of that kind of thing in the past. These guys are making the effort,
Oh, okay.
so
But-
I don't wanna totally unreward the effort, but I also
Well, it's
wanna-
gotta stay in public works, in my mind.
Yeah.
It's part of the highway department. It's
But-
just a matter of, automatic.
we still gotta be cautious with the money we spend.
So can I get a motion, if we're not gonna authorize a toolbox, can I get a motion to deposit $1,085 into the DPW Capital Reserve Fund?
Motion.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? I think we beat that one to the dead. All those in favor?
All right,
Those opposed?
I,
And when we need to pull it out, we'll make the motion back. Okay. Moving on.
And it's DPW capital for the
Equipment capital.
equipment, okay.
Picnic table placement.
Yeah, so it's been a few weeks now, but Nate was in and he talked about one of these picnic tables that you cement into the ground. We finally got the table, but because this is a permanent placement in the park, we wanted to ask the board where they wanted DPW to actually put the picnic table.
Where did this table come from?
I don't know who the manufacturer was.
Is this a donation, this table? Is it a donation or what was it?
No, the board asked that we buy it. This was bought through, I think it was recreation funds.
We talked about it.
Maybe it was one of the meetings, I wasn't here, so.
so you're looking for a recommendation of
Of placement, yeah. 'Cause
a placement. When I saw this, just a question, like, we do things like Apple Fest down there. And could we take in, let the grade school, which have them do their thing about picnic and having some ownership for like a picnic, a placement? It's a cool thing to go and let them figure out how they want to, with their different grades, to have a little contest or whatever. Let them decide where to,
Why don't you give them a few spots and have them pick what spot?
and then pick the spot.
Controlled
You might,
chaos.
yeah, controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Is this gonna be sitting on a pad, or is it just gonna, the posts are in?
It should just be post, what was, do we have a
How
plan
you
for
gonna
a
cut the
pad?
grass under it?
My plan would be a pad, so we're not,
Yeah, so you're not.
Yeah, so you're not
grass cutting
mowing
problem.
grass underneath it, right?
Is there a couple of pads already there that have no bench on them?
There used to be some benches on, there is a couple small pads.
I think there are 3 that have no benches.
Are they big enough? Are the pads big enough? No.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
not,
That would
I
be too
believe
easy.
it, but I believe the pad we were looking for was 8 by 8.
oh, they're not
There's
that big.
nothing, no grass underneath it, so the mower, the guy that does the mowing doesn't have to get out and trim around it every time.
I'd like to see it somewhere around the gazebo, because there's a lot of activity around the gazebo. And that one diamond, or that one area where the gazebo is, somewhere in that section there.
I was thinking that first, but then you can't.
Oh, then you can't sit, you're not gonna have the people be able to sit there because of.
What about over in the back part of this diamond, this part over here, so you can still be sitting,
Yeah.
sitting at
So
the,
you're gonna come out the free part.
not the free part, no, it's right across from the
The other
bank,
end?
right across from the bank,
Okay,
that one
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You are here.
You know, in there someplace
Either
because,
one of them too, but you would just want a little bit of shade.
yeah, and I was thinking that this is the only place where there's a large enough place where kids can knock
Play,
around,
yeah.
you know.
Where that tree stump is.
But you could sit here,
There's gonna
If
be
you
a
did it-
tree there.
No, what I'm saying.
A red maple.
In that area.
yeah, and
And that,
you could still see that, you could still be,
people could still sit on and watch
picnic
it.
and watch the concerts, or whatever's going on in the gazebo.
That'd be my goal.
Right there across from the bank where the trees, where the,
Yeah,
Someplace-
somewhere in that
tree was taken
area.
down.
Someplace in that general vicinity, is that?
Did we get the table that had the checkerboards?
they couldn't find one, no, they're still,
This is
they're
the
still looking,
gazebo.
because that's a pretty
Right,
great
but
idea.
didn't they want to come
But,
back?
no.
They're talking about.
couldn't
putting
find
it
one?
here.
No, he looked and looked and looked. Out of all the things, right?
Yeah, New York City's got 700 million of them, maybe we should,
Yeah.
we'd go down there
Oh,
and get
no,
one of
no,
theirs.
you're right.
Nobody's using them
See,
anymore.
that's,
Yeah, they're not using
right,
it.
This is the bank, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Is that the consensus of the board then? And we took that,
You're on the side with where the grade school is. I still
Yes.
think there's an opportunity here, if you narrowed it down to that area right there, and have,
The school
take
doesn't
some-
usually have an activity in this area.
don't they, when they do Apple
They
Fest,
do
they set
there.
up their stuff right along right here? On that side?
That's it.
I'm just trying to think of, we do concerts in the park, pretty much owns here, farmer's market over here, and I'm saying, well, for everyone's park, it would be great if we had people who use the park.
It'd be great if we had more than one table. I mean, really, it seems kind of silly, we're trying to find a place
how
for
much
one
should
table.
how much should one table cost?
That one was pretty, I think it's $2,500 for one table.
Nice
The
to
regular,
have three tables and you could space them out a little bit,
What if you could have one in each
quadrant or
each
something.
slice, you know what I'm saying? Every one.
Yeah,
That'd be kind of.
I mean, you can work that into a
6.
successive budget, so it's not like we have to,
I was gonna say budget seaseason's coming, so.
yeah.
But,
And there's 61
There are lights
trees in there.
And there's 61 trees.
There are lights in first. and
Yeah.
I think that, where Bob suggested, I think that's a good place for that table.
right there by,
Where you
in the
would look
stump
at-
area.
You'd look at the fountain.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
can see
think
that,
that's-
you could see the,
And if we get things, if we're able to get more in the future, we could include the school as to like, what, do they have a long-term plan for what they would like to host over here?
the other people that might want to be consulted is the library, doing the book roundabout that they're doing, maybe there's a need for a table someplace.
And while we're on this subject,
Is it just a plain table or?
I really want a town clock put up, a nice one that looks like, it drives me crazy with the bank that clock's been dead for years. It's embarrassing. I've worked with them to see if I could even pay for it, to either take it down, to repair it. Neither. They won't go for either. And it's gonna stay that way. So I always go back to think about, Oh, It's a Wonderful Life, that movie, when you drive into that town, that beautiful black round clock. I wish we could have something like that highlights our part
Seems like at one time.
somewhere over here.
The historical society they looked into doing something with a clock, didn't they? On Main Street somewhere, trying to put back one of the.
There was a talk about that.
Replica of the one that was there or something.
Yeah,
Weren't they
something
looking
like
into
that.
That bubbles
They're
up.
somewhere around $8,000 to $10,000. And then you have to have them wired and that stuff, but instead of just,
A clock that don't work.
that to me is just actually rude to all the citizens of the town. Look like we died about
Well,
50 years ago.
Believe it or not, Donnie Howard, when he was taking care of the stuff there at the bank, he kept that clock going. I don't know how he did it, but he's the one that would, if it quit, he'd get on and take care of it. I don't know what he did with it, but I can remember him telling me
Well,
about getting it going.
supposedly they had a special meeting about it up in Burlington 2 months ago. And they said they're not investing any money here.
That was good of them.
For
Yeah.
what?
The clock and.
They will not be fixing it, so
Yeah, if it was at the park. they'd
Well-
be different.
put that in your thoughts for maybe
The want list.
the want list.
The want list.
What would look nice?
Well, we're wiring the park for lights, and maybe this is the time to really think about that. At least get some sort of a spur off that we can.
Could activate in the
When Murphy starts fundraising for our clock,
Murphy's done a good job.
Murphy's the one to go to. That's a go-to dog, I can tell you that.
At the time that they painted the front of that bank, I sent a letter to the bank, and she wanted me to send it by email, and she forwarded it to the national
Bank.
front office of the bank, and they never even responded about the
No, they have no
replacing the
interest.
clock.
No, they're not going to,
Yeah, that's
so.
good to,
It's disgraceful. Maybe we should all take our money out of there.
I did.
I did too.
As you can see, it destroyed them when I.
Yeah.
That's why we can't get that clock fixed.
Yeah. I took my $4.25 out. Matter than heck.
Maybe if I take my $4 out.
So, got an idea for that. We, got an idea to, I'm not exactly sure where that fits into the budget, but
We can
think
find a
about,
spot.
think about it. Next one's gonna have checkerboard on it.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on. And let's talk about the clock too in the same budget. We can always take it out. Grant submissions.
Yes, so so counting Fairhaven submissions, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 grants that we're bringing to the board today to ask them for approval to send to the state. 2 of them are from ourselves, the town of Fairhaven, 2 from Mike Davidson, 1 from the rescue squad, 1 from Mr. Durkee for the wooden soldier building, and 1 from Dave Nelson for the the laundromat / playhouse. And the EDC met today, and I think Glenn was gonna give a little discussion about that.
All right, we've got the Economic Development Committee together today to take the first look at those applications. They fall into, the applications fall into 2 buckets. The human resource bucket, which the Fairhaven sprinkler system, ADA compliant bathroom, and the rescue squad siding and roofing fall into that. And then the rest fall under the economic development bucket for when you're looking for grant money. After talking about all of them, what we wanted to come and recommend to use the select board is the first one, the Fairhaven sprinkler system, where we're requesting $18,768.75. And again, this is, you can get a maximum of 20, for these grants, you can get a maximum of $25,000, but you have to have a 50% match as well. We decided not to recommend the ADA compliant bathroom, which was asking for $24,375. Didn't think it would have as good a chance of getting approved. Again, the sprinkler system is for the fire department as well as the renovations that we're looking for upstairs. The other one that we looked at, the Mike Davidson wheelchair ramp. They were looking for $3,402.23. We decided not to recommend that one going forward. We did the one Mike Davidson electrical upgrade, and this is in the electrical upgrade. This is that the Greek pizza for downstairs as well as upstairs. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's 4 apartments upstairs. He's asking for $7,500 there. We thought that one there would have a good degree of likelihood of getting approved, so we're recommending that. The rescue squad roof and siding, where they're asking for $18,115. Really, there's some pretty compelling pictures they had with their application on that one right there. We're recommending that one, and for what the community would get for good out of that. The Kevin Durkee one, that is the Wooden Soldier restaurant that's asking for $8,361. They're looking to do some, as it says, energy efficiency upgrades, but like the winterization, better windows in the front and some things inside. So we are recommending that one. And Dave Nelson, sprinklers for the playhouse, when they're talking, it's sprinklers for where the laundromat is, there's apartments and the playhouse. That's a $95,000 project. He's asking for the full $25,000. Maybe a stretch, but we wanted to recommend that and see if that one could go as well. So again, we're recommending 5 of these 7.
And where are these grant monies coming from? You're just talking about applying?
This is part of the same program, the grant program that, didn't we do the brewery last year and got
The
some?
brewery, oh, okay.
Yep.
So which was a $20,000 grant, so we're applying for all these grants assuming we may get one. Is that what?
We may get one, we may get,
No cost to us, other than the 2 for the building.
yeah, no cost to us. But when we submit to the state looks to see who supports the project. If the Board of Selectmen and the EDC say we've put our weight behind this with a letter, then they're more likely to fund it than just no letters of support.
And I volunteered to write the letters of support for the EDC and sign them.
Yeah, I disagree with the 2 for the Fairhaven. I disagree with it. You're gonna do worry about a sprinkler system before you take care of the bathrooms. If we can't do anything upstairs, we're not gonna need a sprinkler system. If we don't get that beam put in, and we don't get, okayed from the state to use the upstairs, I would much rather see the bathrooms down here get taken care of to bring up the ADA completion of it. Unless we put a heating system upstairs, it's ridiculous to put a sprinkler system because it's going to freeze. Our logic for not doing, not recommending the ADA compliant bathroom was feeling that the grant committee at the state would look at that and say, town should have already taken care of that, and we didn't think it would pass the muster. But I mean, if you, final say is here, if you want to add it and send.
Are we not in compliance?
No, we
are
in compliance.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Because we're grandfathered.
No, we have an ADA
You could
compliant
get
bathroom.
a wheelchair down there. It's not great, but yeah.
Yeah, you need like 36 inches.
Yeah.
And when the architect was here, that was part of what he did. Receiving the funds to do the upstairs refurbishment, we had to be ADA compliant, which meant they looked at the approach to the building, the ramp going up the hallway here, which had to be at such a grade, I don't know what that grade is, turning corners and then having an ADA bathroom. So yeah, no, we're compliant.
I guess I just don't understand, if something that we've all agreed that we need to have done, why would we not recommend it, even if you're taking a chance? Are you hurting anything else by recommending it?
So I actually reworked that and made it a little bit more compelling, but if the board votes to support everything, then the letter is pretty much it's just a rubber stamp saying, great, anything that comes up, we'll just support and send it up to the state and cross our fingers. I was really hoping that to do this, we would send high quality things that really had a substantial chance of winning. I was able to toss in some better information in that bathroom grant to make it sound better, but we're touching the maximum amount that they're gonna offer, and they usually don't fund maximum amount. They don't fund to 25,000.
I'll tell you,
It'll be hard.
I was confused. I thought this was a grant that the town was, sponsored, but it wasn't for the town, it was for individuals. So I'm a little confused by the fact that we've got 2 proposals in there, or 3, or whatever it is.
there's 4 buckets that you can ask grants for. Human resources is the one that usually towns go for. There's the economic development one, there's an education one, and there's a recreation one, I believe, are the 4 different buckets. We got the brewery in through the economic development bucket last time. Now,
Another question that is a little bit off the subject, but I'm thoroughly confused with the fact we're gonna put a heating system in that doesn't heat the upstairs?
Running the
Maybe too late.
Yeah, that was the heating system. Running the pipes upstairs, there is one room that's heated, but it would only heat this portion of the building, the first floor. There is, in the budget for the second floor, there is money for heat pumps, which would provide AC as well. It would be extraordinarily expensive to pipe it all to the boiler downstairs. It's cost prohibitive.
That's too bad. But the way it goes.
it's pleasure of the board, though, if you want to send all, or there's some you don't want.
You're doing 4 of them, right?
We, 5 of them, Jay. The sprinkler, the electrical upgrade, roofing and siding, energy efficiency upgrades, and the sprinklers for the playhouse, as well as the laundromat and apartments, all in that Dave Nelson one.
What's your pleasure? Speaker, forever hold your peace.
Do it.
I'll make a motion to take the EDC's recommendations and send those, 5 projects out of 7?
Yep.
That's correct.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I think that was unanimous. Thank you.
Can, I'm drafting a letter for EDC as clerk. Can I draft one for the board, Bob, and get you to sign?
Fine with me. As long as you're not golfing, and taking into your golfing time.
I will be golfing, but I'll get it done with that.
And what is it you're gonna do, write a letter?
Write a letter of support. The EDC is going to send letters of support with each of the applications, and the Selectboard is going to send a letter of support with each of them.
All right, anything jumping out at in the parking lot? Any movement?
Lewis Lane, we started that with legals back in town. We're collecting information for him, sending it off. He's gonna draft a letter and send it to us. He's just waiting on some deed research on our side. We'll get that done hopefully this week, get it out to him and get those letters out.
Just a question on that, on Lewis Lane. We brought Jake LeBate and his wife in to talk to. Are we going to give them and ask them what they wanted? Prior to the letters go, I'm just trying to visualize how this is going to work. Letters are going to go to the people in the houses, and if they might be picking up the phone and calling Jake saying what's going on. We started him early in the process. I just wonder if a phone call or contacting to let him know what's
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to tell them that our legal has thrown up a whole bunch of fear.
so he's not blindsided.
So, yeah, right, exactly. I guess that's fair.
Is he still in town?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give him a call.
I don't know that he's rushing back to Florida. Along with anybody else. Okay, I'm gonna move down to the board roundtable. Carol?
Don't have anything.
Nothing.
Jeff?
Sorry, hit the wrong button. Joe, got an email on fund balances. How are they looking?
The fund balances were looking good. O&O was up. Hang on, Jeff, I'm digging for my financials. O&O was up, and DPW, as expected, was down.
Okay.
The board did approve an extra $40,000 last year from fund balance. The DPW was over budget, well, by 60 counting the approved use of that money. So if that makes sense. No shit. I agree.
Really just 20.
Yeah, $20,000 over.
Okay.
I grabbed the wrong folder. Yeah, but everything, it's looking pretty good. O&O was under budget this year, thank goodness.
Good.
Let's see. O&O has a total of $171,000 in their general fund balance, which is up about $40,000. And 030 is down to 117. Again, about 50,000, 42,000.
Is deficit 40,000?
Went down 40,000, yeah.
Try not to do that this year. There's a goal. Any other questions?
No, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew where that was.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good to know. We're going into the season. Yeah.
Yep.
Got two things. How is the monitoring of the Eagles Club going?
No complaints. I did have a young man, he lives across the street, he came in and chatted with me just before I went on vacation. He was having some trouble with them, but they seem to have worked it out.
Okay.
And I haven't heard any complaints since then.
All right.
They had a motorcycle ride in Saturday or Sunday, and it was good. I mean, they toned it down, except for afterwards that one gentleman from Pompey, but as far as what the Eagles Club did, I think they done a good job. I think it's my understanding they're gonna put a fence up between the neighbors. They're gonna put an 8-foot fence up all the way down through to Ron Adams' property. And then they're gonna come across on Ron Adams's with a 4-foot fence instead of the 8. But they've talked to, from what I understand, the neighbors all got together with them one night last week, and everybody was happy with what was going on. They've curbed dog barking. They've stopped that. I think they've done a good job for what they had for problems and where they are now. I think at least they're showing improvement. Let's put it that way. I mean, and they're trying to get things straightened out. So I living right next door to them, it was a lot better this last motorcycle ride than what it has been in the past.
Make sure that they're compliant with what they're doing. And we were just talking beforehand, I thought you couldn't use a bar still. They're saying that, Jay's saying you can, so we should find that out.
I didn't think you were allowed to. Did they just lift the restriction?
Yeah, the Legion is doing as well, so we need to know if that's correct or not, so. The other thing is, how's tax collections? Just out of curiosity.
I keep putting away my financial folder and you keep asking me questions. Pretty good. I haven't, the number one question about taxes are when is the next bill coming out? So.
November 10th.
So right now we're at 96%.
Okay.
So we're slowly getting there.
We're not really being we're not seeing a lot of people dragging their feet because they're affected by COVID or anything like that. It doesn't look that way.
It doesn't seem to be that way, no. It's the folks that will be going up for tax sale are, for lack of a better term, you know, kind of repeat offenders. They're recidivists. They pay it off and then they come back and they do it again. So
I was asked,
96%. You mean you've collected 96%?
collected budget balance, 96% collected.
Okay, that's,
I was asked when the next bill's coming out for the difference between the school and what was on the original bill.
Yep.
Will that be out by the third quarter or the second quarter?
I asked Suzanne that question today. She hasn't heard from the state. We're waiting for that 30-day period to lapse for when the school budget passed, which has got to be coming up. After the state does their process, then we'll have that information.
Okay.
But
Just so
yeah, I
have
checked
some
in
idea,
today.
so if somebody asks again, I just want to be able to tell them when they think it's going to be coming.
I'll ask Suzanne, see if we can't narrow down a time.
Okay.
And that would be, get that out on the, when you do have an idea, just get that out on Facebook and everything, you know, all our pages.
I don't think you're going to see a big difference myself, but it's still got to be taken care of. I mean, it's got to be out there, so we don't, and it'd be much easier to see it in 3 quarters instead of 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I was looking at to see.
Yep.
Try to get it out before November 10th.
Yep.
Okay, review of financial reports?
The checkbook balance is $812,649.88. Motion to pay the general fund warrant, $174,152.18.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, that passes.
Motion to pay the payroll warrant, $29,822.93.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. We now have an executive session. If somebody wants to make that motion.
I'll make the motion to move into executive session for personnel 1 VSA 313A4.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we will
Aye.